Hey everyone, welcome to Lady Overlander Radio. Tonight we're speaking with Traci and Kelly and Justin and Michelle with Skinny Guy Campers. Stay tuned.
Grab your favorite drink, whether it's a coffee, cocktail, or tea, and get ready. It's Ladies' Night on Lady Overlander Radio. Lady Overlander Radio is brought to you by Artemis Overland Hardware, Midland Radio, Timbo Tusk, U.S. Action Tracks, The Moore Expo, and Adventure Trail RV, creator of the Overland Shower.
Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show. We have the crew from Skinny Guy Campers with us tonight, and we're going to talk about this beast behind us here on Kelly's truck and talk about Kelly and Traci's recent trip out west, and how the Skinny Guy Camper kind of is a game changer for them in the overlanding realm. So first, I'd like to give Justin and Michelle a chance to introduce themselves. Justin, if you don't mind.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Justin Sturgill. I am the sales manager at Skinny Guy Campers. I also handle quite a bit of the marketing at Skinny Guy Campers. And my wife, Michelle, who does a lot of traveling with me and kind of keeps me straight and keeps me the maps going and just really gives a whole perspective on the lady side of things when we get out to the shows and selling campers. So she's been a great asset to helping me out at the shows and things. So.
Awesome. Fantastic. And Michelle, how often have you gone out in the Skinny Guy?
Since he started working there, every opportunity that we went out to a show, we use Skinny Guy. I would say we're out there at least every month and using it. So yeah, every time we travel, hit the road, we're using the Skinny Guy.
Awesome. Very cool. So if you don't mind, just give us a little breakdown about exactly what a Skinny Guy camper is.
So a Skinny Guy camper is essentially a self-contained overland truck camper. It's fully removable, and we pride ourselves on the fact that it's cab high. So we didn't want anything that goes up and over the cab of the truck. So you can put a bed rack or a roof rack on your pickup, and then also it's essentially garageable. So a lot of campers these days are very high; it goes above the cab. They got a little wind drag to them. There's just a lot of different things. So we wanted ours to basically look like a truck cab and be lightweight and be able to slide it into a garage and also be able to remove it so you can still use your truck. Skinny Guy has all the options that you can get: flushable toilet, sink, stove, water, hot water, heat. It's got basically all the amenities of a traditional style RV, except for maybe an air conditioner. So you can build it out however you'd like, from the top to the bottom. So
very, very cool. I'll give you a little shot here, a closer up shot of the camper deployed there. And then where were you guys during that shot when that picture was taken, Kelly?
I think that was New Mexico.
Okay.
In that first, during the first week of our big outing, and yeah, I think that was in New Mexico desert for sure.
Yeah, that was near the El Malpais. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been out there to that area as well, my husband and I, and that's a pretty area. But how does the camper do with wind?
Oh, we had no problems with it whatsoever, and actually the biggest ones we hit was at the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway Dan Cummins event, and you were out there, and we had that storm come through that night.
Yeah.
And I think they said it was gusting to 50, and I was in the Skinny Guy that weekend, and it held up really well. It was. With that much wind, I was really, honestly, it was the first night I was in it and that kind of wind, I was a little nervous about it. It did really well. And I think one of the things that's really nice is how heavy that tent material is. It doesn't flap around like a lot of tents do. It seems like it can really take the wind and not sound like you're inside of, somebody rustling a paper bag.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
Yeah, we've had soft rooftop tents, regular rooftop tents, and we were out in, I believe it was the beginning of, just entered into Wyoming, and it was super windy one night, and we just got beat to heck in our regular rooftop tent. So I was just curious with the structure and the way that that's built, how it handles those kind of winds.
Oh yeah, it took it really well.
Awesome.
Yeah, better than I expected.
Yeah, that's really cool. So where were you guys in this picture here?
Yeah, that's a
It
really.
was Lake Powell. I don't even know what state that was.
That's in Arizona or Utah. I think it's partially in both.
Yeah.
Right on the border there, yeah.
And I don't, but we went there and the kids got to swim in the lake and spent a good part of the afternoon there. And we deployed the tent, mainly so we had a little place to get out of the weather, and also so people could use the bathroom because there was nowhere. It was very open. It was a beach setting. So there was really nowhere to get behind anything. There weren't a lot of people, but there were a lot of boats going by. I do think there was some restriction about being able, what you should be doing I don't think you're allowed to use the bathroom outside.
Yeah, well, and that brings up a good point, and we didn't realize that at the moment. You can camp on the shore of Lake Powell, right? But you have to have a self-contained toilet.
Yeah.
And even in the lake, they had toilet barges because people on boats are not supposed to go to the bathroom in the lake because it's a drinking water reservoir. And of all the vehicles that were with us in our group right up on the beach, we were the only ones that could have legally camped there because we were the only ones with a self-contained toilet. So, and where we were, you're not going to bring an RV.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, yeah, we were miles into the desert to get to that southern tip. So, yeah, that was another.
It was a beautiful location though. It was beautiful. The kids really enjoyed it. Everyone had a nice time. And it was nice being able to have that because they were changing clothes in there and getting out bathing suits and all of that kind of thing. So that was really nice to be able to cut up into the camper and do that.
And how many kids did you guys have traveling with you?
We took two 13-year-old girls.
Oh, goodness. I bet that was interesting.
It was very interesting. They had a good time. I think they really enjoyed it. They loved the lake. They slept in the camper a couple times. Mostly they slept in a ground tent for a good part of the trip as well. They wanted to be on their own, didn't want to stay with us, but they had a good time.
Well, and Josh was with too. He wasn't with us. He was in Joe's truck. But
Yeah.
So there were 3 13-year-old kids on that trip. And it was exciting.
So what you're saying is you totally got used a lot on that trip.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one that had an indoor kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's not the only place it's been used by just random people, is it?
No. I might have used it once or twice.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. I didn't have to walk all the way over to the other side, But why don't you guys, Kelly or Justin, either one of you guys can take this, whoever would like to. Why don't one of you guys walk us through a couple of the features of the camper?
Justin, I think that's your wheelhouse.
Okay, so if we're talking about Kelly's, so Kelly has our highest level trim package. Our highest level trim is a kit and caboodle, and then we were chatting about the flushing toilet. The flushing toilet is actually a separate package from all the trim levels, and that's what we call the Primo Loo. So that is an additional package. But in Kelly's package with the kit and caboodle, it has everything. It has a battery management system by Red Arc. It has a flushing toilet. It'll have a sink, a stove. We use a Truma combi on the inside for the heat and the hot water. We have a little Bullfinch shower port that's on the inside that you can hook a sprayer to. You could take a shower just standing right outside the camper. You could take a shower on the inside if you'd like. There's a relatively large bed on the inside. Honestly, it's quite comfortable. It's we tried to get it as long as possible. I think it runs in the realm of about 6 foot 7 inches, 6 foot 8 inches, I think, in length. But it sleeps really comfortable. I think this one is at 38 gallons, I believe, in fresh water. So that's all located in the basement. And then the black tank, of course, there's a black tank storage for the flushing toilet on that Prima Lou package. It runs in about 20 gallons, I believe. So with that is a macerator. So the macerator is what you would use to drain the black tank, and that's all located in the basement when you lower the tailgate. you know, beyond that, features like being able to use your truck bed because it hovers above the truck. So still being able to put some storage underneath of the camper itself. You can have a deck drawer system. You could have a truck vault system to put underneath of that. You could leave it bare, just nothing underneath of it. So you can put totes or just any kind of gear that you want to put underneath there. The top of the camper itself is very versatile. You could put a rack on the top of that to mount lots of things. We have some folks that love to surf, and they mount their surfboards to the top of the camper when they go. So it's got a lot of really great features. It's got a lot of the things that you would get out of a normal pull behind style RV or even a truck camper that was just fully kitted out. So yeah, it's something that you could spend weeks off grid with something like that and never really need to see civilization if you didn't want to.
The sink and stove.
Yeah, so the
refrigerator.
sink it does have a sink, stove, refrigerator. Yeah, I think I didn't mention the refrigerator, but it's got the little 12-volt refrigerator that works really well. Yeah, it's essentially got everything. So one of the greatest features I think that's unique is the rainwater catch system. So the rainwater catch system is basically a gutter that goes around the bed. You can use this to catch rainwater. There's a little spigot style cap on each end of that. It catches rainwater. It runs off of the tent. You can catch that rainwater and actually essentially use that in the Skinny Guy. So you can pump that back inside of the Skinny Guy into the fresh water system if you'd wanted to, if you needed water. So it's got a lot of really great features.
That's very cool. We have Cindy from Northology Adventures. She wants to know if you guys are at Expo Pacific Northwest.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are. We just made it today. We left on the 5th, early morning on the 5th of July, and we made it this afternoon. The booth is all set up, so we are here.
And I saw you guys, or somebody, maybe it wasn't you guys, but if there was someone there from Skinny Guy at the Big Iron Overland Rally.
Yes, that's correct. I myself was there, and then I brought I tried to get all the guys from the office out with us because I want them to, a lot of they're off-road enthusiasts. Kelly's met a lot of these guys, but they're off-road enthusiasts or car and truck enthusiasts. So I try to get at least one of them, or if not two of them, out to each show that we go to. I want them to, thoroughly see what we're doing, the people that we're talking to and selling to, and just generally get out of the office, right, to sell a little bit.
And get the feedback.
And they enjoy the feedback as well. So the Big Iron, I took one of our engineers, or actually head of engineering, and he did a great job. He enjoyed the show, and it was really nice to talk to everyone that come by to see us there.
Awesome. Cindy said, we had a great time at Big Iron. Great hanging out with you, Justin. I actually left
Good
a
to
little
see you too, Cindy.
I was thinking hot.
It was hot.
It was so hot. It was out of control. Oh yeah, she says, but it was hot. But it's nice to cool up in the Pacific Northwest right now.
It's not bad here. I think we're looking at 80s, about 80, 81, 82, something like that for the weekend. So it's looking pretty good, but it's dipping down into some really nice cool temperatures in the evening. So I know that it was really hot last week when I called and talked to one of our dealers out here, and he said it was in the high 90s. So he said it's going to be really, really warm, but it cooled off quite a bit. So it's very pleasant out.
Very cool. We're going to take a moment here, and I'm going to show a short little video of your recent trip. And I think in this video, I'm not sure exactly where you are, but maybe you can tell us. And you had an off-camera situation. So we're going to watch that, and Kelly can either narrate through it or we can talk about it right after.
I'll try to narrate.
When you come up, come straight.
It's straight. No, right.
Our videos is we do we like to throw a mix of harder trails in what we do compared to a lot of overlanders. And I did not want to lose the capability of doing tough trails, off camber, shelf roads, big rock faces. I still wanted to be able to do that. And the Skinny Guy has done an amazing job of allowing me to have a bunch of hotel features and still be able to go out and do those trails. Like we said in our video about the Skinny Guy, what you guys have fit in to 1,000 pounds is really unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would agree. Thanks, Kelly. It's fantastic. You know, Michelle and I were a few weeks ago. Actually, it's been about a month now. We spent some time in Baja, Mexico. I took a truck very similar to Kelly's, Ram Power Wagon, and it was great. It was fun. The truck did amazing. But what was more interesting is just how well the truck handled with the Skinny Guy on it. You could do some really difficult, and we did some pretty difficult trails. And you didn't really know it was even back there, which is great. So, and then when you get to camp, you could pop it open. You had all these great amenities, and you had a place to change, and you had a place to brush your teeth, and you had a place to make coffee, bathroom. It was great. It's a fantastic little unit.
And the dust didn't accumulate in it either. That was another.
Yeah, we were impressed. Yeah, very impressed with that.
Yeah, we were in some really heavy dust, and we'd open the camper up, and everything was just as clean as it was when we put in there. We didn't have any dust. It really seals down really nice. So everything in their bedding stayed really clean.
Yeah, it's always looked, I mean, the times that I've seen inside of there, it's always looked very clean inside and not a lot of, no water or dust or any kind of intrusion of anything. Have you had any experience with that or?
No, we haven't had any problem. The only time we had any dust in is if we would leave the door open. Which we would get inclined to do out west because there's really no bugs, you know, and so we would leave the door open and we'd get a little dusted just at the door, but never from camping and nothing from going down the road with it.
Yeah.
And we were in some really bad stuff and a lot of rain out in Oklahoma, and it's always just, I mean, been pristine when you open it up. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, and one of the things that I had mentioned to Kelly, which was really nice, you know, we had other people with us that were rooftop tents and they were constantly taking their bedding out of the tent and packing it somewhere else and then their bedding out of where they packed it and putting it back in the tent. And I said, we didn't have to do that. We had the storage units right inside the tent. So we would just roll up our bedrolls and everything and tuck them down in there. And we didn't have to drag it outside the tent, which I think really helped keep everything a little bit cleaner and less dust. And especially that sand, that, you know, the desert sand, it just seems to get everywhere. But you're not dragging things out, you're just leaving everything internally inside there. That definitely helps.
Absolutely. So real quick, Tony from Bats Off Road said, just dropped Arla off at the airport. If you guys are wondering where my co-host is, she's on her way to Florida, lucky her, right now, but Panama City, I believe. So she's heading to the Gulf Coast tonight. And Amy Marler says hello. And then we have a question from Kirk Ivankovich, who asked, who developed Skinny Guy?
Okay, so the story behind the Skinny Guy camper comes from actually comes from one of the co-owners, Donovan Fredrickson. And Donovan kind of dreamed this up by essentially he wanted a camper that was fully kitted out, fully amenitied, just like a regular RV. And he wanted it to look like a cap, basically just a cap on the back of a truck. And it took him some time, you know, and this is all coming from him, just chatting with him over the course of the year. And he said over a period of time, it began to evolve that. The first Skinny Guy camper was aluminum shelled, but it was wood on the inside. So he kind of kitted it out on the inside, laid everything out the way he wanted it, had a tent built for it. And then he introduced the idea to our founder, Jason Bontrager. So Jason and him have been friends for years, and he said, we should do this. We should really take this to the next level, and let's design this so we can make it manufacturable, and we could share it with others. And so Donovan and him actually built another aluminum one, and it was aluminum inside, aluminum outside, and they began to just put this thing together. And Donovan, he lives in Montana, he lives in Bozeman. Yeah, he spent a lot of time with that camper on the back of his truck. taking it out and just running it through the ringer, just trying to figure out, okay, what works, what doesn't, and how can we improve it? How can we make it better? And so if there's any reason, there's, any contested reason why it works so well, it's because of Donovan's testing to make sure that everything was working the very best it could work. And it was going to be small, lightweight, and be able to remove from the truck. And then on top of that, it was just sturdy, like it would last forever. You look at the shell on it with the aluminum, the 1/8-inch aluminum that is constructed from, all the interior components out of the aluminum, it's all powder coated. Essentially, if I could say that the weakest link, maybe a tent, but it's replaceable. It's totally replaceable. So you run it, you use it, and unlike a rooftop tent, who you may have to replace the entire tent, our tent you can replace. So it gets banged up, scratched up, holes in it, whatever the case may be, it can be replaced. It can be replaced, but the rest of the unit is so solidly built that it's just incredible. So I think that's a small price to pay, and the tent is extremely sturdy in itself. We constructed it out of Aqualon materials, so it's extremely durable. You can penetrate that with a knife or a tree branch, and it doesn't rip, so it can be stitched and repaired. So it's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough tent in all itself. So, but Donovan is he loves to mess with Skinny Guy, and I'm not going to say whether it was named after him or not, but we'll leave that on the table. But he's great. He's fantastic. He's a big time thinker, an inventor, and loves to tinker around with the Skinny Guy.
I thought you guys named it after Kelly.
Yeah. Me and Kelly are cut from the same cloth, so I don't know if it was.
Now here's a video of you doing a water crossing.
It's getting deep. Yeah. Jeez.
About a mile past where we crossed it, ended up turning into an old wagon trail that was still a legal Jeep trail, but we actually had to move some rocks out of the way to be able to get up some propane, 20-pound propane tank sized rocks that had kept coming down into the road surface. And I don't know when the last time somebody had been on that trail, but it wasn't very often. And there's going to be some video of that one coming out with Cattywampus. I'm not sure how many, 2 or 3 videos from now. But getting there in the Skinny, and that's another one with an off-camera situation, as a matter of fact. We may have that some of that clip where Joe was filming behind me. He actually stopped filming when he saw what I went through because he knew he was coming through it next.
Yeah. Yeah, Cattywampus just released a video on the Skinny Guy Camper.
They did.
And we can drop the link to that video in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. So if anybody wants to catch that video and see the walkthrough that you guys did as well, that'll be available.
Right.
So Cindy from Northology says, you got to see one in person. They're so well thought out. They really are. Like you can kind of turn and do one thing here and then turn, there's not a ton of space inside, but it's still just enough. And the way that things are laid out, it feels bigger than it really is, I think.
It does. Well, Traci, we're talking about getting dressed and getting up in the morning, and talk about that a little bit.
Well, when you get up in the morning, usually we were in ground tents before this, so you would get up in the morning and the first thing you want to do is go to the bathroom or, stretch or get out. And this situation, we were in a group of 3 or 4 different vehicles, depending on the time. And, sometimes you get up and you don't want to just jump out of your tent and you don't have to do anything. You just get up and you can sit at the end of the bed and you can sit there for a minute. You can brush your teeth. Kelly and I said we can make coffee, make tea or something inside the camper before you actually leave and have to interact with anybody. And so sometimes that is just a nice time. When you're in a big group with a lot of people, it's hard to get that little bit of alone time, just for 5 minutes to clear your head and stuff. And that was nice. It was everything was right there. You didn't have to go very far. you could just sit in a regular position and not cross-legged on the ground, like a ground tent or something of that nature. So that was
Yeah.
nice.
And you need to have coffee before you talk to people. I agree.
Very important things.
Kirk says, I heard Skinny Guy is by far the quickest setup. That's huge. I'd rather be sitting around the campfire first. I agree. So how quick can you set up a Skinny Guy, Justin?
It depends on if I'm blindfolded or not. No, it sets up pretty quick. I mean, you know, Michelle and we've had clamshell style rooftop tents. And I think by far I can set up a Skinny Guy camper much quicker.
I think last night we were set up and done in less than 10 minutes completely. And he had the scuttle out starting to cook, and I was already up in the top, like getting our bed made, and all this within less than 10 minutes. So, because we rolled in at dark and we were like, all right, we need to hurry up and get some dinner going. So we kind of have our own routine. He finishes everything downstairs. I go upstairs, and we're done. I mean, it really is very fast. I think the biggest part is just getting it level. You know, sometimes you want it a little more level. So I think we spend more time, him and me, going, okay, is it level now? Just because you want your head to be in the right position. You don't want your truck to be going downhill and your head sleeping downhill. So we probably spend more time doing that, and that's still not that much. So
if you're bougie like Kelly, you have a fix for that. Why don't you tell them about your leveling out, Kelly?
I have independent controlled airbags on the truck now.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
A cab. Yeah.
So you're not out there picking rocks, perfect size rocks. That's where it comes in. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's really tough when you travel, you know, and we use a Skinny Guy, like Michelle said earlier. Like last night we were at a campground, and we just do this because a lot of times we have a trailer with a lot of gear that we're bringing to the shows. So it's just easier to pull into a campground. You know, it's not the most ideal thing, but we're still using the Skinny Guy, right? But the level off, right? They tend to get a little upset when you start to take those big rocks out of their landscaping and try to get that truck level. So you kind of sort of have to bring some more. So the max tracks will have to come out or something of that nature to get it all leveled off. But, yeah.
And the nice
You're running through the landscaping to try to get the leveling right.
Yeah, they don't much care for that. They don't much care for that. So.
Yeah. And I think one of the nice things too is we still were hauling a trailer behind the truck, hooked to the hitch. We were able to just pull right into an RV pull through site. It was, I mean, like right at the edge of dark. We wanted to have dinner, and we don't have to unhook the trailer now. We can still set everything up, use it, and not have to unhook anything. So that way in the morning, we literally packed that camper up in less than 10 minutes because everybody's sleeping. We left in dark still this morning, you know, and so the trailer's hooked up, everything's hooked up. You just put the camper down and go. So it works. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yep.
So Michelle, what would you say is your absolute favorite thing about the Skinny Guy? If there was one thing you could not live without, what would it be?
I personally like to have my own toilet. And I'm not saying, I mean, we've been a lot of places and I've had to go, you know, and you go outdoors and stuff like that. But having that option right there is nice. But also the water. We've had the rooftop tent set up for years where you've got to find a way to keep water. But this is concealed in the unit, and having that water in there whenever I want it is definitely a game changer. I like to get up every morning. Some people like to have coffee. I like to get up every morning and wash my hair. So I want to be able to wash my hair, and that BowFit this works phenomenal.
What would you say is your favorite thing, Traci?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that when you asked her that question. I think for me, it is the running water, and not so much. I mean, I don't wash my hair every morning, but I do like to brush my teeth and just wash my face and just feel like a refresher that way, you know. Maybe white bath is okay, but at least with the running water, it does feel like it's more of a.
Yeah, and there's plenty of it. Yeah.
And so you guys were gone for 3 weeks on the trip you went on, right?
Yeah.
So how many showers do you think were taken?
With that,
The Skinny Guy, yeah.
I don't know.
The girls probably showered like a lot, huh?
The girls showered quite often, and we did get out a shower enclosure for them because they're 13-year-old girls, and we have a 13-year-old boy with us. And that was nice, and they got to use that. They didn't get embarrassed. They didn't have a problem. It was right next to the camper. So that was really good. I went in there a couple times and used that shower enclosure as well, which helped mainly to wash my hair. So dusty, crazy. But we never had a problem with not enough water. That was the other thing. We would stop and get water and fill up the tanks, but we were never to the point where we were totally out of water.
Yeah.
That was good.
So you can actually shower inside the tent as well, though, correct?
You can, yeah.
There's a floor drain and everything, and
Yeah, it has a floor drain. We didn't do that, and I actually have been looking at one of the very small single enclosures to be able to suspend from the top of it, so that if you were to shower inside, you could utilize the floor drain in that floor, which is really nice because that's one of the things about some of the other shower enclosures. You're still standing on the ground,
right.
and even if there's a piece of fabric, you're walking in and out of it. You know, it's just you don't come out of it clean. And you could really do that in here. But I haven't figured out a way that I could shower in there without me hosing down the whole inside of the tent.
Yeah.
Because well,
You take messy showers?
yeah, well, I have poor coordination. But I am looking at some of the single enclosures, and I'm going to try. My hope is to try that out next trip, and especially our next big trip is going to be in North Woods of Maine in the fall. So it's going to be cool. And one of the really nice things with the Skinny Guy is the heater in it is a forced air propane heater.
Mhm.
So it is really nice heat. I mean, obviously the few times I've used it, it's heat from everywhere. It's not like heat from one little place. It's actually forced air coming from 4 different places. And so if you've got a shower in cold weather, inside is going to be my
Yep.
choice if I can. So
Nice and toasty in there then.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh, the first night I used that heater, I'm like, well, I'll set it to 68. Oh yeah, no, I was up like an hour later, turning it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wanted to show this last little video, and it basically just shows you one of the places you could take this truck with the Skinny Guy camper, because a lot of people have doubted your truck, right? They don't think you can do big trails and go very, very remote, but you've proven them wrong over and over again.
Oh, well, yeah, we get that online all the time. And a lot of the overlanding, all the full size. That is kind of my mission in life, is to show them that that's not true. You know.
So this is the site you guys camped at. And where was this?
Okay, thanks. That was Temple of the Sun, and yeah, as you can tell by that, we are in the middle of nowhere. And it was beautiful because I don't think we saw another human for 2 days. And it was really nice to just be that far out there and still have, like I say, you know, the full hotel features. If you can get a truck there, you can get a Skinny Guy there. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Well, that's the thing that I've seen just from the times that I've traveled with you guys, you and Cottawampel, is that anywhere their Jeep can go, your truck has gone. Anywhere my Toyota can go, your truck has gone with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you've winched other people out, and you've had to use the muscle of your truck to get other people through certain obstacles. And so seeing a full-size truck, you know, with a camper on top that's able to do basically anything any other vehicle, overlanding vehicle can do, is pretty impressive. You know?
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably partially because of the driver, but really it's the truck.
It's all the equipment. I have nothing to do with it at all. That's the truth.
And so I asked you back when we were at the Back of the Byway event, how much weight that added to your overall overland build, and how much weight with the Skinny Guy camper, with the water build and everything, does it add to your truck?
So my weight went up, and one of the things I want to caveat for this, I did 2 changes at once.
Okay.
So I added the Skinny Guy, but I also added a Slide Master 100% pull-out slide,
Yeah.
full bed,
In your bed.
in my bed. That weighs 350 pounds
Okay.
for the slide. So Skinny Guy's about 1,029 pounds, 350 for the slide, and then 38 gallons of water. I'm about 1,600 pounds heavier than I was before all of those changes, which is significant. I mean, it is something. And honestly, that was driving some of my concerns going into it. And the Daniel Boone was the first time I did any real rock crawling with it in mud. And so I was really curious to see how the truck was going to handle with that much weight added to it. And
And that was pretty gnarly, that trail.
oh, that trail I brought us down turned into a side-by-side trail. Yeah, that was a good time. I put a little tiny ding in my passenger side rear quarter, but that's all right. I did notice the weight. I have to tell you, I could definitely tell it was there. But it didn't hinder me in accomplishing anything.
Right.
And now the more I've been playing actually with my airbags, there's been a few situations where the extra weight has really helped. On some big inclines that we were on out west, I did not have anywhere near as much tire slippage as I had had before. That's just because I have so much weight on my rear tires. You know, it will just sit, as long as there's traction, it'll crawl up it all day long. And so that has worked out really well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you have a pickup truck, you don't have a lot of weight in the back, and that really affects the way that you're able to drive it. Kind of slick situations and stuff, so maybe a little weight's a little better sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few situations here where you're right. It helps. And like I said, with the off camber, we've done a lot more than just the video clips we've shown here.
Yeah.
Did quite a few shelf roads, a bit of off camber, and it handled it really well. I was really impressed. And so.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break and cut to a commercial, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I'm Tony with Bats Off Road, and you're Joy the Woodpecker. I am.
This is Team Wild Maven.
Hey, this is Ross Cross Design.
Hi, this is Jerry from Tempo Tusk.
Hi, we're Cuddlewaffle Overland.
What's up, guys? This is Oscar Mike Overland.
Hey, I'm Matt.
And I'm Kara with Ozark Overland Adventures.
Hey, this is Aaron with Artemis Overland Hardware.
Hey, this is Chris with More Expo. You're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching Lady Overland Radio.
Lady Overlander Radio.
Watching Lady Overland Radio.
Here we go. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Lady Overlander Radio is brought to you by Artemis Overland Hardware, the More Expo, and U.S. Action Tracks.
That video cracks me up every time. So Traci, you mentioned that you went out with 2 teenage girls and yourself, and you don't do overlanding a lot, right? You stay back a lot of the times when Kelly goes out. So this was a big, long trip for you and for the girls who aren't used to that.
The longest trip we've taken. Like I've been on them.
So how was the trip overall with yourself and 2 girls? And how did the camper help out, or did it help or hinder that experience?
So we took our daughter, who's been out on a couple trips with us before, and then we had her take a friend that she wanted to go with. And her friend had traveled quite a bit, but always in a pull-behind camper. She'd never been in a tent or been in any sort of situation where she couldn't bathe every night or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't really sure how they were going to do. They started off great, everything was good, and they did fine setting up their tent and everything going on. We did tell them that there would be times we'd let them sleep in the camper. We would share, and they really liked the uniqueness of it and having that time. They would go in there and be, I don't know what they were doing, but they'd run the water and do all those kinds of things inside there. And so they really enjoyed that part. Of course, it was a 3-week trip. So as time went on, they got a little bit less and less interested in being out with us. But we had enough room inside the camper. When we first packed it up, we were like, oh my God, I don't know how we're gonna last. But as we went on, we found better ways to pack. We found better ways to put more things in the camper and less things in the back seat with the girls. And that really helped. We actually strapped some bags onto the top of the camper at some point. A front runner bag that ended up getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more full with their clothes and whatever the extra things that they had brought. But that really helped that we had that option, that we could do that and it didn't cause any more problems. They did enjoy showering. They really liked being able to have the water, like I said. And so it really helped, I think, for them to, they would go in the camper some nights when it was their night and be up there. And it was like they were all alone, like they forgot we could hear them or anything going on. And so that was kind of funny too. They thought they were like invisible. Yeah, exactly. In a closed house. It worked out really well until the last night of the trip when they decided they wanted to be in the camper and we were in where were we at?
Missouri.
We were in the Ozarks, Missouri, and we were in more of a campground setting, which we hadn't been in so much before. In the middle of the night, they got a hold of Kelly because there was hissing and lots of noises coming out of the back. We had left the slide out, and there were raccoons. They thought they were bobcats, and they were yelling at him to shoot the bobcats, but it turned out it was raccoons that were crawling into the food, and I slept through the whole thing, so.
The raccoons opened a front runner bag and were eating over a bag of marshmallows on the slide right under them.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were glad that was the last night, because I don't think they would have wanted to camp.
They might have took this up in the truck.
I'm sure we'll hear about it for years to come, about the night they got attacked by raccoons.
So Michelle, where have you enjoyed camping the most in the Skinny Guy? What location?
So far, I mean, the furthest and the most that we've used it, I mean, we were in it for, a week and a half straight, almost 2 weeks. And when we were in Baja, I mean, every place we camped in Baja was phenomenal. I can't say there was no bad spot, but we did spend 3 nights at the beach, and we had the Skinny Guy open up to the water, and it's kind of like over the rocks, and you had the wind, and it wasn't a lot of wind, but it was just that ocean breeze or whatever, and it was just wonderful. I mean, it's so peaceful to be out there like that, and that's probably one of my favorite places so far. But we've got a lot more adventuring to do, obviously, with it. So we've done campgrounds and we've done off grid, and obviously I'd like to be off grid as much as possible, but Baja so far was the best place. And being on the beach, I like the beach.
Very nice. Yeah, I love falling asleep to the sound of water. Whether it's crashing or just a creek or so relaxing.
Well, that's what when we first bought our first camper, it was a pop-up camper that we pulled behind a truck. And one of our favorite memories with our kids when they were young was up and along the Lakeshore, Michigan, camped. And we had every window in that place down, and at night just hearing those ocean waves, or the not ocean there, the lake waves just rolling, the wind and the breeze. So when we were looking for stuff, this was probably the closest to giving us that same experience, because that was by far, I mean, we've been in several campers, but we like that open and be able to hear the noises of those waves. So
yeah, we just about every night, Kelly and I were in the camper, we would have both windows open. And that was another thing we were commenting on, the nice breeze that would come through right over the bed. And so we were never really hot in there. There were nights I was cold, and he would turn on the furnace, and so that was good. But as far as the heat, where we were, the wind going through that right over the bed was perfect.
Yeah.
It's got really good airflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, and I think that, you guys were in quite a bit of heat out there.
Yeah.
What were the temperatures during the day?
Oh, we hit triple digits in part of it. Yeah, definitely. We were down in Arizona, it was warm, and the southern part of Utah, we weren't able to get much elevation. So yeah, we were triple digits, and of course the desert does cool down a bit at night, but it wasn't dropping as much as it normally does. We weren't hitting those 65, 68 degrees. It was staying in the 70s, low 80s. But of course the humidity is pretty low out there.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Yes. And any night it was warm like that, though, we had enough of a breeze to be noticed, and being able to open a window on each side of it, and you park to the reef, and it really does. It was really surprising how much air moves through that.
Yeah, we actually packed a little fan thinking that was an issue, and we never did get it out.
Yeah, that's what we usually use. We just bought a new one that clamps on the bows. And so we plugged that thing in, and it just, the air movement from that and having that noise, if you like that white noise of silence, he likes to sleep with a fan. So having that in there as well, you feel like you're just at home. It puts you right to sleep.
Yeah, that's really nice. So let's talk about cooking in the Skinny Guy. What was your experience with that? Because I know you guys initially said you weren't planning on cooking inside of it.
Yeah, we have a little jet boil that we thought we would get out, and we did get it out. Until it came time we would have some weather, especially with a lot of wind in some places. I don't know what the first place was, I think it was, hey, what was that, the White Pocket.
White
I think White Pocket, we got there and it was really windy. And we were there a good part of the day, but we just weren't sure how to block all that wind on the back of the slide. So we decided we would just go up in there, and we went up inside the camper, and it was perfect. It was a single burner. It lit up just fine, and you didn't have to worry about anything about the weather and the wind blowing out your flame or causing not to cook as quickly. And so that was one of the things we were like, I don't think we'll ever cook in there. I just don't see that. We don't want to stick it up, all that kind of stuff. But that White Pocket was pretty early, and we did use it pretty. And then after that, it was like, well, let's put the coffee up there. Let's put the tea bags up there. And then we get up there every morning.
Yeah, like you said, we didn't think we were going to do much cooking in it. We were going to kind of do the way we used to do it. But that's the best windbreak I have ever had for a running stove. So we ended up using it quite a bit because it didn't matter what the weather was outside. You could still make fajitas.
Yeah, really.
At 11 o'clock at night.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I have a little story, a little side story to share about Kelly. So when we were in the Daniel Bean Back to Byway event, that was one of the first times, I think you had just gotten the camper installed.
Yeah.
And I remember Deb remarking that usually he's like the first one up, and early in the morning, he's out there making coffee for everybody. And she got up and she was upset because she's like, where's Kelly? Why is there no coffee? And he was in there sleeping in.
Yeah.
No, you're not allowed to sleep in the skinny guy anymore because I need to in the morning.
She's not wrong. Historically, I'm always awake. I have the coffee going before anybody else is even stirring. Since I've gotten the skinny guy, they're waking me up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There you go.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a true story. I got a lot of grief about that.
Yeah, we were teasing you quite a bit.
Yes, you were.
So let's talk about the power on the skinny guy and the solar and what features that has. What do you have a panel on there? Did that come with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so as Justin said earlier, it's got a Red Arc Manager 30.
Okay.
And that it has a shore power connection, standard 110 volt. And then it also can charge from the vehicle, and it's capable of charging from a solar panel. And this one has a 190 watt solar panel that is on the top there. And when it's closed, that's facing up, and you can charge, with the camper closed. Well, it also flips out.
Yeah.
So that when you're camping, you're also still charging. Excuse me. Inside of this one is a 170 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery that the Red Arc manages, and a 1,000 kilowatt Xantrex pure sine wave inverter. So they've really got the power dialed in with some really good stuff. And not only did it run everything I had, we were actually charging other people's jackeries in it. And you. So the power management on that was so nice about it because it's integrated into the camper. A lot of people, this is set up here and this is here and that. It just works.
Yeah.
It just works. You just plug it in and it works. And you're not sitting here, trying to play Jenga with all of your stuff to keep everything, working. And we were traveling a lot, so I was charging from the truck mostly. But even when we weren't out in the desert, it kept. I don't know that it ever went below 13.3 volts ever on the whole trip. So it did a really good job of just keeping it working.
And it doesn't affect your battery on board on your truck.
No, it's completely separate.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah. It charges when the truck is running.
Right.
But it won't, and it's got low voltage disconnect. The Red Arc Manager 30 takes care of that. It's not going to cause a parasitic drain on your truck and cause you a dead battery. And that's what I'm saying. It just works. Everything's just integrated, and you just don't even have to think about it.
It's all self-contained.
Yeah.
And once again, it's one less thing you have to pack, one less thing you have to worry about. So Kelly uses a CPAP at night, and that was always one of the things. That's one of the reasons why Jenna has pretty much always slept off by herself or separate, because we've had trouble having things that would run in CPAP all night.
Yeah.
We'd have jackeries or different devices, and they would die in the middle of the night. And all of that. And so this was not an issue. We would just plug that in to the camper and we didn't have to drag along another item, another thing.
Oh, you're in plenty of power and plenty of water. Yeah.
Yep. I know I like to use the hair dryer and the hair straightener and all that kind of stuff. Everything is nice to be able to have that in the inside. I used to try to use the Jackery and the hair dryer would, pull that down too much and kick it off. I keep everything inside the Skinny Guy now, and that's what I use.
Yeah.
Well, we were teasing Kelly earlier saying they need to bring the air fryer next time. They have a chicken tender for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to see. That's really cool. So, do you have anything else to add about the Skinny Guy, Justin? Any other features or anything we might not have covered so far?
So yes, I just a couple of things real quick. So what Kelly has is our 6.5 foot model. I just want to let everyone know we have a 6.5 foot models in production. So those are available across the country to any of our dealers. You can give us a shout on the info. Also, we're working on developing for everything. Here at the Pacific Northwest Show, we have one for a Toyota Tacoma short bed, or any of the 5 foot mid-size pickups. We have our brand new prototype here at this show. We're going to be showing it off. We're really close to being in production with that. We'll have them for a Gladiator. We'll have them for the 5.5 foot full-size trucks. And all of those will have all of the same amenities that Kelly's has available to you. So you can get them as low as a trim level as a bare bones with nothing in it and build it out yourself, or you can get it fully kitted out like Kelly's that's got everything imaginable for camping in it. And you can do that on any of our campers. So any of our future campers, we work really hard in the R&D department to make sure that we can fit the water heater and the heat and the battery and the battery management system. All of those things can go in every camper that we're going to manufacture.
So it's very customizable. And you can
It is. In fact, a lot of times, if you buy something in the lower trim levels, we make it so you could upgrade later. So if you wanted to add something, you can. So if you order one of the packages that maybe doesn't have the battery management system and you want to add it, it's very customizable and modular. So you can do that later if you want to. A lot of the holes are plugged in the cabinetry on the inside. So any of the monitors or any of the holes that you would have to mount the equipment are there always. They're just plugged. You can pull the plug out, put in whatever it is that you want to install, and you're good to go. You're ready to upgrade your camper however you'd like.
Very nice. And what is the current beginning price point for a Skinny Guy camper?
So retail on our 6.5 is about $15,625. That's MSRP. And then I think that goes all the way up to about $38,000, which is the kit and caboodle with the Prima Loop package.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're building out, you buy a rooftop tent, you buy a roof rack, you buy a fridge, you buy a stove, you put in a drawer system, you get some kind of toilet to take when you're overlanding, all of that kind of stuff adds up to where, it gets pretty pricey that way as well. And this kind of just comes all in one package.
Correct.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. And what's nice about it is, for years I'd load and unload a truck, right? So this is already loaded. So if I needed to take it off my truck in 30 minutes, I could have it off my truck and it's sitting in the yard. And everything that I have to take camping is already in it. So I don't have to throw the Jackery in the truck. I don't have to throw a little porta potty in the truck. I don't have to load the tent. I don't have to load, 3 totes with all of my camping gear. I can literally put it inside the camper, put it on the jack stands, pull the truck away, and it'll sit in the yard until I'm ready to use it again. It's already packed, ready to go. It's essentially one giant container full of all my stuff. I'm ready to go camping whenever I choose to.
Yeah, and then if you need, like you said, if you need to remove it to go haul something and you're not, currently camping, you can take it off pretty quickly and use your whole truck bed and do what you need to do and then put it back on. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's one thing about having a Skinny Guy. If you choose to upgrade a truck, It's pretty easy to put the next Skinny Guy back on it. It's a relatively easy to mount it and to wire it, and then you're camping again. So if you wear out a truck, you could buy another truck, because I guarantee you're not going to wear the camper out. So it'll be around for a good long while.
So if people want to find out more about Skinny Guy, what's the social media accounts you guys have, and the website and all of that stuff?
So our website is skinnyguycampers.com, and then you can check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We're quite active on both of those platforms. And we also have begun to do a lot more YouTube. We have a YouTube channel as well that I try to upload videos that are just informative videos. They're not nearly as entertaining as what Kelly and Traci get to go out and do. But it is they're generally good, informative videos of just about all the features of our Skinny Guy. And so if there's anyone that ever wanted to question what we're doing and how it works, they'd be able to go to our YouTube channel to see that as well.
Awesome. And definitely check out Cottywomple Overland's latest video on the Skinny Guy as well. That was released, I believe, last week.
Yeah.
So that's on YouTube under Cottywomple Overland. Again, it's Skinny Guy Campers. And thank you so much, Kelly and Traci and Justin and Michelle, for being on the show tonight. Thank you everyone for watching. And I hope everyone has a great evening.